Hello and welcome to another episode of Trigwell's Tea. This is a giant mug that I made quite a few years ago. It was a very limited edition thing. This is the very last one and it's been kept in my cupboard to make things like ginormous cups of tea. However, I am making some new mugs very soon, so keep a lookout for them. So today I wanted to do a little bit of a Q&A. I haven't done one of these for a long time. I launched a Patreon page, patreon.com/Hannah Trigwell, links below, on which I give away monthly original song demos. It's been amazing so far to have a soundboard, a group of people who are giving me feedback on these new songs, and I'm sharing exclusive content like behind the scenes stuff, more content from the studio than I do on other places online. So it's a very cool place. As part of what I do on there, I asked my patrons if they had any specific questions about either the music industry or my music, and I would be answering them here on an episode of Trigwell's Tea. So let's get into it. Stephen Sinclair said, ever thought about any plans to do either a full live or acoustic album? I have thought about doing an acoustic album. It's probably not going to be the next album that I do because I have already a lot of ideas for the next album. However, I do have a lot of acoustic and sort of stripped back songs that sort of need to stay stripped back so that they hold on to the sentiment. I definitely at some point want to do a live album. The way that I want to do it is in a big and probably unrealistic way. So I'd love to have like a 360 video going on and maybe a string section. I don't think I'm there yet, but at some point I'd love to do a full live album. That would be very cool. Ellen Wilson says, will Red be released on vinyl? So hopefully. What I would ideally like to do is a very short limited run of Red, possibly as a picture disc. I'd love to do that, but having a very limited run of anything made is very expensive. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can make these and make them available to people that want to purchase vinyl for a price that isn't ridiculous. So bear with. It is something that I would love to have a copy of for myself. And yeah, if people want to have a copy of Red on vinyl, that is super cool. I'm trying to figure it out right now, but it is something that I'm determined to make happen. Phil Batty says, I have a talented finger-picking acoustic guitarist 16-year-old son. Very cool. Who you met at your Bristol gig, very cool, and wondering how you rose up in the ranks. Everyone's journey within this industry and other industries, everyone's sort of journey, you know, as cheesy as it is to say that, is different. My friends have signed major label deals within the first year of them even picking up a guitar. I know other people who've had longer stints with major labels and are now independent. I know a lot of people like myself who've not ever been on a major label and have just been independent. Perseverance is the key, but also just make as much music as possible and don't be afraid to write with other people. You learn so much from collaborating with other musicians because everybody writes songs and performs songs very differently. So just get as much experience as possible. Busking is amazing for that, and keep going. Ben Tallarico says, I hope I pronounced that right by the way. Ben Tallarico says, I know it requires a level of success for songs and albums to be put on the radio and to be nominated for awards. Is there a process you have to go through to make yourself an official artist or label before any of that can actually happen? How official does a release need to be? Being an official artist or having an official label is as official as you want it to be. So if you're a self-releasing artist, like I am, and you go on to put your song up on iTunes and Spotify, etc., there will always be part of the sort of form that you have to fill in to do something like that says label name. And if you have a song to put up and you put in the song up and you type in a label name and you press send and your song goes on iTunes, it's a label. If you've funded your music and you are paying for it to go on these sites like iTunes and Spotify, then you are the label. So initially how it started out for me was I had some new original songs that I wanted to put out. So I did go on to TuneCore. I'll link below if you want to check that out. I went on to TuneCore, I put in the information about the song, it said label name. I think at the time I just put Hannah Trigwell. and then that went out. Nowadays I distribute my music through a label services company called Absolute. Essentially it's a very similar thing, but they also have other arms, other services like pitching for playlists and that sort of thing. It was the same process for me. So I came to put my information into a form about what the title of the song was, what the title of the artist was, what was the label name, and I was like, is this an opportunity for me to actually start a label and to put my songs out under a recognised brand name and to put other people's songs out under that label and to expand what I do in music? These thoughts just came to me in a really quick moment. I was like, yes, that is something that I want to do. What should I call it? And then I just came up with the name Teapot Records because I love tea. That's it. So now my label Teapot Records, that is the label name that I put everything out under. Through that label I also put out other artists' music. So far we've done a couple of European dance tracks which have gone really well. And under Teapot Records I've also made like social media content, video content, that sort of thing for other artists. But the fact that I do other bits of stuff like that under the label name doesn't make it any more of an official release than somebody who's self-releasing their first song and decide that their label name is Mug Music. There's loads of different types of releases, so there's like an official single versus a soft single, and a soft single would be like putting a song out but not making a huge song and dance about it basically. Whereas an official single would probably come with like a music video and other content like that, and maybe pitching for radio. Someone putting out a self-release single versus someone putting out a song on a major label, they're both official releases. They might get different levels of exposure due to the marketing budget, but they're both official releases. So Ben, I feel like that question means that you maybe have music and you're thinking about putting it out. Just put it out, just do it. Kat and Maja say, Majarina, again, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. What is the most challenging thing when you write a new song? For me, the most challenging thing writing a new song is always verse 2. Mainly because verse 1, lyrically and music-wise, usually comes to me quite easy, and then the chorus is something that either comes to me first or after verse 1 and is like a climax of the song, and you're feeling really good about the song and you go into writing verse 2 and there's a lot of pressure to really smash that verse 2. So that's why I feel like it's the most challenging part of it all. In which country could you live for a while and why? I absolutely feel at home when I'm in California, and particularly Santa Monica. I feel like I could definitely live there. I'm not really sure what it is about the place. It's very chilled. There's a lot of good, healthy food. I like the lifestyle that people seem to have. It just seems like a really cool place to live. Are you open for playing private house concerts? Yeah, hell, why not? I think that would be pretty fun. And the final question from Kat and Maja is, do you like symphonic orchestra music? My answer to that is kind of. I kind of do. Sometimes it can be quite annoying, but other times, if there's a very chilled piece of symphonic orchestra music or classical music, I like that to relax to sometimes, but very rarely. I'd probably be more likely to stick on something like Ben Howard or maybe John Mayer. But yeah, I don't hate it. I kind of like it. It's alright. Thanks for watching this episode of Trigwell's Tea. If you have any other questions that you want me to answer within this series about music generally or music industry stuff, write them below in the comments and I will try and answer them all. I have some new music coming very soon that I'm very excited about and a little bit nervous about, so keep a lookout for that, and I will catch up with you at the next episode of Trigwell's Tea. Ciao.